What is going on, guys? Predator458 here, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another subscriber replay. This one sent in by Silence5 in the Tier 7 Japanese cruiser, the Myoko. Now, as you can see, he is in a division with a Colorado battleship. Now, this replay does have a few little replay glitches, like there you could see the camera clipping into the ship itself, and there may be a few video errors because I did have to move this video off the hard drive that was giving me problems. So if any of that does show up, I do apologize. But he's got his first target. It is an Otago. It is Rage Phage at 13.1 kilometers. He's got high explosive loaded. He's going to fire a full salvo. Few of them hit the mountain. And he's taking some incoming fire from someone else. Unfortunately, he doesn't get any hits on that salvo. Now, Silence5 did actually send in about 3 different replays of the Myoko. This was my personal favorite, but I may use some other ones in the future. So he's going to fire some blind torpedoes here, going to fire some there, and then he's going to go to a narrow spread and fire them through that little channel. But if you guys would like to have one of your replays featured on my channel, check the description down below for the email address that you guys can use to send them in to me. Just include, if possible, all the screenshots of the 3 different pages of the results. But now he's got this Pensacola at 10 kilometers. He's switching over to armor piercing. The Pensacola is still on pretty high health, but he's not going to be for too long. And here comes Silence5 rounds. He gets 3 hits in a Citadel for just under 7,000 damage. And within the space of a few seconds, this poor Pensacola went from 25,000 odd health down to 6,000. So Silence5 is just keeping him focused up, trying to finish him off. Because as I've said before, just because an enemy is on low health doesn't mean their guns are any less effective. And he's got a bad angle to shoot at the Pensacola, but such low health, he may as well give it a try. Down to 347 health, and unfortunately, Race Carver's shells just beat his for the final killing blow. And now it's time to deal with the Megami, but we're trying to make a baby cruiser right now. An Epic Failure 81 in his Megami is turning fairly flat right now, giving a pretty decent side shot on him. 5 hits for, what was that, about 4,000 damage. Unfortunately, no Citadel on that salvo. But at this angle, it's still very much a possibility, so we're going to try again. And those shells are looking pretty good. And 5 hits in a Citadel for 6,100 damage. And again, Epic Failure is flattening out. And got more rounds on the way. He's being focused down by 2 Myokos. 8 hits for 5,500 damage that time. We take some light damage in return. We've got the Colorado, the squad mates, backing us up. And another 8 hits for 6,000 damage. And the Megami is very nearly dead. Will Silence5 be the one to finish it off this time? Let's have a look and see. And rounds going in. And he gets another Citadel and 2 hits to finish off the Megami for his first kill of the match, but it certainly will not be his last. And now we got an Atlanta at 11 kilometers. Silence5 had switched over to high explosives, so he's just going to fire those off, clear the barrels of his gun, and switch back over to armor piercing. And he gets 6 hits, 2 incapacitations, and 2 fires on the Atlanta with that salvo of high explosive. Now, these Atlantas are very, very dangerous little ships when they get into range. Obviously, a ridiculous rate of fire. Lots and lots of 5-inch guns, and they can just high explosive spam you to death like nothing else in this game. But thankfully, the Atlanta's not focusing on Silence5 and is flattening out quite nicely. So we're just going to put the shells on target as he turns broadside to us. We get 4 hits in the Citadel for 6,700 damage. And now it looks like someone is firing at us. Is it possibly the Atlanta, or was it Rage Phage and the Otago? Getting a few more hits on target. Those guns splice, unfortunately, and it's actually that New Orleans over there. 6 hits for 2,500 damage. Atlanta's down to very, very low health. So just going to fire a few guns, and that should be enough to finish him off. And indeed it is. That is kill number 2. So now it's time to focus on the New Orleans, who unfortunately is turning away, but he fired his salvo anyway. Gets 6 hits for no damage. Unfortunately, all shots bounced. Just using the map border here a little bit to turn around and head away from the New Orleans and the Otago. Those are both obviously tier 8 cruisers, but we can still deal with them. And just trying to get guns on target right now. One problem of the Myoko does seem to be its turret traverse. And here comes this Fubuki laying down a smoke screen, which is very nice of him. But yeah, still just trying to get those turrets on target. I think what the 180-degree rotation time is like 35 seconds or something stupid. And now the New Orleans is flattening out. So Silence 5 fires his front 2 guns that are ready, and now fires the rest of them. And gets 2 hits for no damage again. But there we go, 3 hits and a Citadel for just under 5,000 damage. And going to keep firing his guns as they are ready. And now the New Orleans has switched targets and is firing at Silence 5, but he's going to turn, I think. No turn, I don't think he needed to. The aim was off on the New Orleans. And he's going to just keep firing and keep whittling down his health. But he does have to keep in mind that there is also that Otago, who is probably not within line of sight right now, but is still going to be someone that will need to be dealt with. And now Silence 5 is turning in, takes heavy damage according to the little text at the bottom of the screen, but he barely took any damage at all. But he's gotten some more good hits on the New Orleans and brought him down to 3,200 health. And that salvo is looking pretty good. 3 hits, just not enough to finish him off, unfortunately. Only RNG would have guided 1 more shell in. But he's going to fire another full salvo, and this should definitely be enough to finish off the New Orleans. And there we go. That is kill number 3. So already it's not a bad match at all. And he has now been detected by the Otago, who is broadside onto him, which is what we always love to see when we're facing Otagos, because they are, like most cruisers, ridiculously easy to Citadel. And speak of the devil, 2 Citadels and 3 hits for over 10,000 damage. I didn't quite get to see that number before it disappeared off the screen. But he's going to fire again and hope for some more Citadels, but this time only 7 hits for 2,600 damage. And there are torpedoes in the water. Now you just got to wait to clear this island before we can deal with the Otago, and there was also a destroyer in the area. And he's doing the smart thing here. He's just kind of turning away because obviously that Otago has torpedoes and could have refired them for that corner. Thankfully, I don't think he did. But an enemy destroyer has snuck through the channel and is capping C. And there is our Otago, and he does not have the guns pointed in this direction. He is focusing on Race Carver in the other Myoko. And unfortunately, a little bit tunnel visioned here, and he crashes into this little island, this little rock, whatever you want to call it. But he's going to continue putting some shots into the Otago. And you can see down to 10,000 health. It's on fire, keeps disappearing in and out of the smoke. Unfortunately, Rage Phage does manage to sink Race Carver, and that Farragut of Green Lemon did launch a spread of torpedoes, but Silence 5 is able to miss most of them, only taking a single torpedo, but that has dropped him down to 6,800 health. And now just getting all his guns on target, fires a full salvo, and 3 hits, incapacitation, and he gets the kill, which is of course his 4th kill of the match. But now things are not looking terribly good for his team. They've lost all capture points, and they have a few battleships pushing around from D. So Silence 5 is just currently reversing back into the A cap point to just cap that up. He's switched over to high explosive, and he is ready to start defending himself and his battleship from this pesky little Farragut who is straying very, very close. Gets a few minor hits there, nothing too special. And the Farragut is most likely launching torpedoes at this point. And he sets him on fire, does 1,000 damage. Gets Confederate, does another 1,000 damage. And now this little destroyer is down to just 1,500 health. Silence 5 has unfortunately run out of room to reverse. But he's just got to try and keep an eye on this Farragut. There are no doubt torpedoes in the water. Someone was that the Cleveland has hit the Farragut, who's now down to less than 500 health. And here are the Farragut's torpedoes. This is not looking good for him, but thankfully, they just run out of range, because even one of those would have been enough to finish off the Myoko. So the Farragut has now been destroyed, leaving the enemy with 3 battleships, which, as I said, have all come around from D. Silent 5, his 1 destroyer has snuck around and is capturing A. The Myoko, sorry, who's on 27 health, is recapturing C. So once again, they have the capture point advantage, and that will help protect their 200-point lead and help to ensure victory. He tries to fire some high explosive shots at the Tirpitz, and unfortunately this island is very unsporting and gets in the way. So he fires his other guns, and as you can see, I mean, these 3 battleships are on pretty good health. I mean, this Tirpitz on about half, North Carolina's on about half, and then the Tirpitz at the back is about 3/4. So things are not, it's not a guaranteed win yet. And it's now down to 3-3. The Cleveland and the Myoko have both been destroyed. So it's Silent 5 in his Myoko, his teammate, his division mate in his Colorado, and the destroyer that is now snuck all the way around and is about to capture D. And Silence 5 is just reversing again, just trying to keep this land mass between him and the Tirpitz, because he is on very low health, and just 1 average hit from a battleship will finish him off. And I think he is going to, looks like he is now speeding up again, just trying to go and get some guns on target where he can try and help out his squad mate. And obviously this is going to give the Tirpitz a very, very short window of opportunity to return fire, and thankfully his guns are not even pointing at Silence 5, so he fires a full salvo of high explosive. They're looking pretty good, and he gets 5 hits for 2,000 plus damage. And he's slowed down now just to try and get more time on target. And it looks like his front guns all kind of hit the mountain. And now it is time to get out of here. Pulls out his torpedo launcher, but he's not going to be able to do it just yet. But what he is going to do is going to do a little 180-degree turn here, and then he will be able to launch torpedoes through that little gap, and hopefully he will be able to get some good results with his Japanese torpedoes of death. Tirpitz is now down to 30,000 health, 26,000, but I think all 3 battleships are focusing on the Colorado, who is now running towards the border, trying to keep as angled as possible. And the Tirpitz is steaming straight towards Silence 5, but his guns aren't pointing at him just yet, and unfortunately some more shots hit that bloody rock, and he's going to fire both his torpedo tubes. And now it is time to get out of the area, because right now they will win on points if they can manage to survive. And I'm not sure, their destroyer capped D and then turned around, and you can see his Colorado division mate is on relatively low health, but Silence 5 is here to rescue him with a very well aimed spread of torpedoes. The Tirpitz has slowed right down, but it is not going to be enough. He takes 2, and that is enough for kill number 5. And yeah, now it's basically just running away until the match ends. There's nothing much else. So thank you very much to Silence 5 for sending in that replay, and let's go and have a look at the results. And as you can see, it was a victory. He got 118 target hits, 2 torpedo hits, 10 incapacitations, killed 5 enemy vessels, caused 5 fires, flooding once, got 7 citadel hits, defended a base 9 times, captured a base once, and assisted in base capture once, for 531,000 silver, 6,300 research, and of course the Confederate Award. He came first place on his team, beating Race Carver, who came in second place by nearly 1,000 points. First place on the enemy team looks like it was the Tirpitz with 1,500. And then as for the detailed results, he got 81,156 armor piercing damage, 15,500 high explosive damage, 13,500 from fires, and 17,500 damage from his torpedo hits. So a very, very good match from Silence 5, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And thank you once again to him for sending in this replay. But that is it from me. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships content, as well as a few other things that I might throw into the mix from time to time. Also, as I said at the beginning, be sure to check the description down below for the email address that you guys can use if you have a really awesome replay that you'd like to send in to me and perhaps get featured on my channel. But that is it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.